Tasoulas. And there is Spiros Kapralos as well, just in the background. The former president of the Hellenic Olympic Committee. So a mix of familiar and new faces at this flame lighting ceremony. Shortly we will hear from our MC for proceedings. Our MC today is Dora Anagnostopoulou. As you can see, all very light-hearted. And now the dignitaries move to their positions and the ceremony can begin.
Εξοχότατε κύριε Πρόεδρε της Δημοκρατίας, αξιότιμε κύριε εκπρόσωπε της ελληνικής κυβέρνησης, αξιότιμη κυρία Πρόεδρε της Διεθνούς Ολυμπιακής Επιτροπής, αξιότιμε κύριε Πρόεδρε της Ελληνικής Ολυμπιακής Επιτροπής, αξιότιμε κύριε Πρόεδρε της Οργανωτικής Επιτροπής των Χειμερινών Ολυμπιακών και Παραολυμπιακών Αγώνων Μιλάνο Κορτίνα 2026, αξιότιμε κύριε Δήμαρχε της Αρχαίας Ολυμπίας, κυρίες και κύριοι. Είναι ιδιαίτερη τιμή μου που βρίσκομαι εδώ ανάμεσά σας στην ιερή γη της Ολυμπίας, στον τόπο που γεννήθηκε το φως που ενώνει τους λαούς. Από εδώ, όπου η αιώνια φλόγα ανάβει ξανά, ξεκινώντας το ταξίδι της ελπίδας, της ειρήνης και της αδελφοσύνης προς το Μιλάνο και την Κορτίνα, όπου στις αρχές του 2026 θα λάβουν χώρα οι 25η χειμερινοί Ολυμπιακοί Αγώνες. Your Excellency, the President of the Hellenic Republic, honored representative of the Hellenic government, President of the International Olympic Committee, President of the Hellenic Olympic Committee, President of the Organizing Committee of the Winter Olympic and Paralympic Games Milano Cortina 2026, Mayor of ancient Olympia, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor for me to be here with you today at the sacred grounds of Olympia, the birthplace of the light that unites all nations. It is here where the eternal flame is ignited in a journey of hope, peace, and friendship ahead of the 25th Winter Olympic Games Milano Cortina 2026. È con profondo onore ed emozione che do il benvenuto alla delegazione italiana di Milano Cortina 2026 qui al sacro luogo di Olympia. Ας ξεκινήσουμε τη σημερινή τελετή αφής, εδώ στον φιλόξενο Αρχαιολογικό Μουσείο της Ολυμπίας, με τον Ολυμπιακό ύμνο. Παρακαλούνται όσοι δύνανται να σηκωθούν όρθιοι. Let us begin the lighting ceremony here at the welcoming Archaeological Museum of Olympia with the Olympic anthem. Please stand for those who are able. Ο Ολυμπιακός ύμνος ερμηνεύεται από την κολορατούρα σοπράνο Χριστίνα Πουλίτσι. Please welcome the κολορατούρα σοπράνο Χριστίνα Πουλίτσι.
And now for the national anthem of Italy, the host nation of the Milano Cortina Games, to be sang by the Italian School of Athens. And now the Greek national anthem, also performed by the Italian School of Athens, which is the only Italian school in all of Greece. We'll now hear a poem entitled The Light of Olympia, written by local poet Takis Dokshas and recited by actor Giannis Stankoglu.
Το ποίημα «Το φως της Ολυμπίας» του ήλιου ποιητή Τάκη Δόξα υμνεί την ιερή φλόγα ως σύμβολο ειρήνης, ενότητας και ανθρώπινης ανάτασης. Το απαγγέλει ο ηθοποιός Γιάννης Στάνκογλου. There is a special poem called The Light of Olympia. It was written by poet Takis Doxas, who was born and raised in this very region. Please welcome Giannis Stantoglu, who will recite The Light of Olympia.
Από τα ποταμίσια χείλη του Αλθιού και από του Δία το πέτρινο μάτι, μέσα από τα πληγωμένα μάρμαρα, εδώ, σε τούτη την παρθενική μήτρα της Ολυμπίας, που δεν άλλαξε, δεν μολεύτηκε, δεν θα πεθάνει ποτέ. Εδώ θα ξαναγεννηθεί το φως. Σπίθα του Θεού, κρυμμένη στη στάχτη της καρδιάς του Κουπερτέν, που θα τη θεργέψει με την ανάσα της η Καλυπάτηρα, η Ελληνίδα μάνα, μάνα κάθε ανθρώπου. Από εδώ θα φύγει ο άγγελος για να φέρει το μεγάλο μήνυμα. Πες τους να ξεκινήσουν όλοι για την Ολυμπία. Χιλιάδες, χιλιάδες έφηβοι, σμάρια από κορμιά, άσπρα, μαύρα, κίτρινα, να πάνε να ξεπληθούν κοντά στην παλέστρα. Απ' το χθες, απ' το σήμερα, απ' το αύριο. Να λείψουν με λάδι την ψυχή και το νου τους. Και ύστερα να μπουν απ' την ορθάνυχτη πύλη στο στάδιο για να πολεμήσουν. Όχι στη σφαγή και στην πυρκαγιά. Όχι με το μαχαίρι και το σίδερο που καίει. Όχι με το ξολοθερμό του ανθρώπου από τον άνθρωπο. Όχι για νέους νεκρούς, νέους σακάτιδες, νέους δυστυχισμένους, μα για την πυγμή και το ακόντιο, για το πήδημα, το δίσκο, το δρόμο, την πάλη, για το τέθρυπο, για την αρετή. Πέρα στο ξέφωτο η Ολυμπία, ξάγρυπνη, μερόνυχτα πλέκει για τον καθένα τους και από ένα στεφάνι αγριλιά ελληνικής ειρήνης. Ειρήνης όλου του κόσμου.
Time now for the first of our speeches from the mayor of ancient Olympia, Aristides Panagiotopoulou.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the mayor of ancient Olympia, the town honored to host the Olympic flame lighting ceremony, Mr. Aristides Panagiotopoulou.
Εξοχότατε, κύριε Πρόεδρε της Ελληνικής
Your
Δημοκρατίας.
Excellency, President of the Hellenic Republic,
Αξιότιμη Πρόεδρε της
dear
Διεθνούς Ολυμπιακής
President
Επιτροπής.
of the International Olympic Committee,
Αξιότιμε Πρόεδρε της Ελληνικής Ολυμπιακής
President of the
Επιτροπής.
Hellenic Olympic Committee,
Αξιότιμε Πρόεδρε
President
της Διεθνούς Ολυμπιακής Ακαδημίας.
of the International Olympic
αξιότιμη
Academy
πρόεδρε
President
της Οργανωτικής
of
Επιτροπής
the
Milano
Organizing
Cortina
Committee
2026.
Milano Cortina 2026,
Αξιότιμε Υπουργέ Αθλητισμού της Ιταλίας.
Minister of Sport from Italy,
Αξιότιμε εκπρόσωπε της ελληνικής κυβέρνησης.
representative of the Hellenic government,
Αξιότιμοι πρέσβεις, αξιότιμοι
ambassadors,
κύριοι Υπουργοί, κύριε
ministers,
Περιφερειάρχα,
regional
εκλεκτοί
governor,
προσκεκλημένοι, κυρίες
dear
και κύριοι.
guests, ladies and gentlemen.
Σας καλωσορίζουμε
We
στην
welcome
αρχαία
you
Ολυμπία.
to ancient
Στον
Olympia,
τόπο που
the
επιλέχθηκε
place
από τους αρχαίους
chosen
Έλληνες
by the ancient
να
Greeks
φιλοξενήσει
to host
και να δώσει σχήμα
and
και
give
μορφή
shape
σε
and
αυτό
form
που σήμερα
to
ονομάζουμε
what today we
παγκόσμιο
call global
αθλητικό και
sporting
πολιτιστικό
and
ιδεώδες.
cultural ideal.
Εδώ που η
Here,
ιστορία δεν
where
βρίσκεται
history
πίσω μας,
is not behind
αλλά
us,
ζει και
but
αναπνέει γύρω
lives
μας.
and breathes around us,
Χαραγμένη στο τοπίο,
engraved the
φυλαγμένη
landscape,
στις μνήμες,
preserved in memories,
ζωντανή στα
alive
μονοπάτια
in
που
the
ενώνουν
past,
τα
that
ιερά,
connect
το
sanctuaries,
στάδιο και τους μύθους,
stadiums and myths,
που εξακολουθεί
which
να εμπνέει,
continues to
να
inspire,
διδάσκει
teach,
και να
and
υπενθυμίζει
remind
ότι η ειρήνη,
that peace,
η άμυλα
fair
και η
play,
ανθρώπινη
and
υπέρβαση
human
μπορούν να
transcendence
γεννηθούν
can be
από
born
μια μικρή
from a
κοιλάδα
small
και να
valley
γίνουν παγκόσμιο
and
φως.
become a global light.
Η δύναμη αυτού του τόπου
The power of this
δεν είναι
place
μουσιακή.
is not
Είναι
museum-like.
επίκαιρη,
It is
είναι
timely,
ζωντανή,
it is
είναι
alive
βαθιά ανθρώπινη.
and deeply human.
Οι συμβολισμοί και οι
Its
αξίες του,
symbolism and values,
τόσο οικίες σε όλους μας,
so
είναι
familiar to
αναγκαίες
all of
σήμερα
us,
όσο
are
ποτέ.
needed today more than ever.
Από εδώ
For
ξεκινούσε
here began
επί
for
αιώνες
centuries
η
the
υπενθύμηση
reminder
ότι ο άνθρωπος
that man
αξίζει μια ζωή
deserves a
χωρίς
life
φόβο,
without fear,
χωρίς τον ίσιο του πολέμου.
without the shadow of
Και η
war.
Ολυμπιακή
The
εκεχηρία
Olympic truce
υπήρξε το
was the
πρώτο
first global
παγκόσμιο
no
όχι στη βία.
to violence.
Το πρώτο οργανωμένο,
organized,
νομικό και ηθικό
Legal
πλαίσιο
and moral
προστασίας
framework
της
for the
ανθρώπινης ζωής.
protection of human life.
Κι όμως σήμερα η
And yet,
ανθρωπότητα
today,
διασχίζει μια εποχή
Humanity is going
πολλαπλών
through
και
an
παράλληλων
era
κρίσεων.
of multiple and parallel
Οι πόλεμοι
crises.
πολλαπλασιάζονται
Wars
από
are
την Ευρώπη
multiplying
μέχρι τη
Europe
Μέση
to the
Ανατολή
Middle East
και από την Ασία μέχρι την
and from
Αφρική.
Asia to Africa.
Θα πρέπει λοιπόν να
So
παραδεχτούμε
we
με
must all
ειλικρίνεια
accept, being
ότι μια
frank,
κοινωνία σε πόλεμο
that a society
είναι
at
μια
war
κοινωνία αποτυχημένη.
is a failed society.
Μέσα σε αυτό το τοπίο
In this
αβεβαιότητας,
landscape of
η
uncertainty,
ανθρωπότητα χρειάζεται σταθερές.
humanity needs
Χρειάζεται
constants.
σημεία αναφοράς
It needs
που δεν
points of
φύγονται από το
reference
χρόνο.
that do not deteriorate
Και
over
μία από
time.
αυτές τις σταθερές
And one of these
θα είναι
constants
πάντα η
will
αρχαία
always
Ολυμπία.
be
Και
ancient
η Ολυμπιακή
Olympia
φλόγα που
and
ανάβει
the
σήμερα.
Olympic flame that
Μια
will be lit
φλόγα
today.
που
A
ορθώνεται
flame
σαν
that
χειρονομία
rises as a
ανθρωπιάς,
gesture of humanity,
σαν κάλεσμα
as
σε
a
έναν
call
κόσμο που δεν θα
to a
συνηθίσει
word
ποτέ τη
that
βία.
would never get used
Μια
to violence.
υπενθύμηση ότι ο
Reminder
πολιτισμός
that civilization
χτίζεται
is built
όταν ο άνθρωπος
when
προστατεύεται,
man is protected,
όταν η ζωή
when
έχει
life
αξία
has
υπέρτατη
supreme
και όχι σχετική,
and not relative value,
όταν η αξιοπρέπεια
when
είναι
dignity
αδιαπραγμάτευτη.
is non-negotiable.
Ή όπως έλεγε
Or,
ο Γκάντι,
as Gandhi used to
όταν η
say,
δύναμη της
the
αγάπης
day the power
νικήσει
of
την
love
αγάπη της δύναμης,
overrules the
τότε θα
love
έχουμε
of
ειρήνη.
power, the world will know peace.
Θέλω σήμερα να μιλήσω
Today,
καθαρά
I want to
για αυτό το
speak
φως.
clearly about this
Όχι
light,
μόνο ως δήμαρχος
not
ενός
only as a
τόπου
mayor
ιδιαίτερου,
of a land
αλλά ως
that is
πολίτης
important,
ενός
but as
κόσμου
a
που
citizen of a
δοκιμάζεται.
world that is being tested.
Η αφή της φλόγας
The lighting
μας
of the
επιτρέπει
flame
να θυμηθούμε
allows
ξανά
us to speak
τις
again
αξίες που
about
δίνουν
the values
προσανατολισμό
that
στην
give
ανθρωπότητα.
direction to humanity,
Αξίες που γεννήθηκαν και
values that were
σφυριλατήθηκαν εδώ.
born and forged here,
Αξίες που αναγνωρίζονται
values
ως
that are
θεμέλιο
recognized
της
as the
κοινής μας μοίρας.
foundation of our common
Η
destiny.
συναδέλφωση, ο
Fellowship,
σεβασμός στη ζωή,
respect for
η
life,
δικαιοσύνη, η αριστεία,
justice,
η ευγενής
excellence,
άμυλα
fair play,
και βέβαια η ειρήνη.
of course, peace.
Σε έναν κόσμο
In
όπου
a
η
world
απληστία
where
και η
greed
ματαιοδοξία
and
κυριαρχούν,
vanity
η
dominate,
ένταση κλιμακώνεται,
tension
η λογική
escalates,
σιωπά,
reason is
τα όπλα
silent,
μιλούν,
and weapons
η
speak,
Ολυμπία ζητά
Olympia
κάτι συγκεκριμένο.
asks for something
Να
very specific.
υψωθεί ξανά
Let
η
the
φωνή
voice
μιας
of a
οικουμενικής ηθικής.
universal morality be
Μιας
raised again.
ηθικής που
A
θέτει τον
morality
άνθρωπο
that
στο
puts
κέντρο.
human being at the
Μιας
center.
ηθικής
A
που
morality
αρνείται να
that
συνηθίσει τους
refuses to
πολέμους.
get used to war.
Μιας ηθικής
A morality
που θεωρεί
that takes for
αυτονόητη
granted
την προστασία
the
των
protection
παιδιών
of
και των
children and
αμάχων
civilians
σε κάθε γωνιά του
across
πλανήτη.
every corner of the planet.
Η φλόγα
The flame
δεν μπορεί να σταματήσει τον
cannot
πόλεμο.
stop the war.
Μπορεί όμως να φωτίσει
It
μέσα
can
στο
shed
ζωφερό
light
σκοτάδι.
in the gloomy
Μπορεί να
darkness.
δείξει το δρόμο.
It can show the way.
Και αυτό είναι
And
το
this
μέτρο της
is the
διαχρονίας
measure
της.
of its
Είναι ο
timelessness.
λόγος που η
It
ανθρώπινη
is the
συνείδηση
reason why
επιστρέφει
human
πάντα σε αυτή.
consciousness always
Η
returns to
Ολυμπία
it. Olympia
μπορεί να γίνει ξανά
can once
τόπος
again become
συνάντησης
a meeting place
πριν γίνει τόπος
before it
τελετής.
becomes a place of
Γιατί ο
ceremony.
κόσμος χρειάζεται
As
έναν
the world
ουδέτερο,
needs a neutral,
ηθικά ακέραιο
morally
τόπο,
intact
όπου η
place
αξία της
where
ζωής
the value of
μιλά
life
πιο δυνατά από τις
louder
διαφωνίες.
than disagreements.
Τον τόπο που μετασχημάτισε
that
τις
transforms
αξίες σε
values
πράξη
into
και τους
action
συμβολισμούς σε
and
θεσμό.
symbolisms into an
Φίλες και
institution.
φίλοι,
Dear friends,
από την Ολυμπία
from
ξεκινά μια
Olympia
φλόγα
begins a
που
flame
σηματοδοτεί
that
κάτι
marks
περισσότερο από
more
ιστορία.
than just history.
Σηματοδοτεί τη
It
δυνατότητα
signals
ενός
the
καλύτερου
possibility
αύριου.
of a better tomorrow.
Ας την αφήσουμε λοιπόν
Let us
να μας
allow it
καθοδηγήσει.
to guide us.
Ας μας θυμίσει ότι
Let
ο
us
κόσμος δεν
remind us
χτίζεται με
that the
φόβο,
world is
αλλά
not
με
built with
θάρρος.
fear but with
Και
courage.
ίσως
And perhaps
τότε
then
να καταφέρουμε
we,
ως
as
ανθρωπότητα,
humanity,
όπως θα έλεγε ο ποιητής,
will be able
να αποδίδουμε δικαιοσύνη
to do justice
με ένα άστρο
with a
ή με ένα
star
γιασεμί
or a
ή με
jasmine
ένα κλαδί αγριελιάς, θα
or
προσθέσω
with
εγώ.
a wreath
Σας
of
ευχαριστώ πάρα
olive
πολύ.
tree. Thank you so much for your attention.
We'll now hear from the president of the organising committee of the Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games, Milano Cortina 2026, Giovanni Malago.
Καλούμε τον πρόεδρο της, κύριο Giovanni Malago, να απευθύνει χαιρετισμό. The Organizing Committee for the Winter Olympic and Paralympic Games, Milano Cortina 2026, honors today's ceremony with a large delegation. We invite its president, Mr. Giovanni Malago, to address the audience.
Your Excellency, President of the Hellenic Republic, Mr. Konstantinos Tassoulas, Madame President of the International Olympic Committee, Kirsty Coventry, President Thomas Bach, Minister of Sport and Youth, Andrea Bodi, dear Mayor of Ancient Olympia, dear IOC colleagues and friends of the Olympic movement, members of the institutions, distinguished guests. Standing here today, it's impossible not to be inspired and moved by the sheer weight of a history and tradition that sits at the heart of our great Olympic movement. Here, in this very special location, where athletes came together to compete nearly 3,000 years ago, we are able to draw a clear line connecting the ancient and modern games. Every 4 years, ancient Greeks will light a flame as an act of sacred worship to Zeus, acknowledging his supreme status as king of the gods and a symbol of his power. As students of ancient history will know, it was Zeus who brought unity and harmony to the chaos of the heavens, establishing the rhythms of the seasons. And today, as the Olympic flame begins its journey to Milano Cortina 2026, we celebrate the same ideal, harmonia, a harmony and unity that will bring all of Italy and all of the world together for the Olympic Games in just 72 days. The ceremony we are about to witness and the passing of the torch provides a symbolic bridge between antiquity and modernity. In 1960, the torch relay route for the Rome Olympic Games was designed to link Athens and Rome as the centers of classical civilization. As with those games 65 years ago, the Milano Cortina torch relay will respect our shared classical heritage, passing through Rome's imperial monuments, Pompeii, Appian Way, and regions of Magna Graecia, creating a story of continuity between ancient Greece, ancient Rome, and modern Olympism. Over the next few weeks, the Olympic flame will pass through all the Italian provinces, 60 cities, 300 towns, 20 regions, and all the UNESCO sites. It will travel from the northern peaks to the southern shores, carried by 10,001 proud torchbearers. One country, one story. The Italian spirit will shine brightly in the flame of the torch, igniting the whole of Italy and uniting the world in the common purpose which sits at the heart of Milano Cortina. To use the timeless power of the Olympic Games to create new opportunities for young generations through sports. 20 years ago, I was given the incredible honor of carrying the Olympic torch for the Torino 2006 Winter Games in Roma. It created an immense emotion that is still engraved in my heart. This time, as the proud president of the organizing committee for Milano Cortina 2026, it will be extremely privileged to carry the Olympic flame once again along the banks of the River Tiber onto the Olympic Preparation Center, founded by Giulio Nesti for the Rome 1960 Olympic Games, retracing the exact same route I ran 20 years ago. Every step I and the thousands of runners take over the next 10 weeks will remind the world of the power of sport to build bridges, break down barriers, and together create a healthier and more sustainable future together. I wish to thank the President of the Hellenic Republic and the Hellenic Olympic Association for the work that they do to preserve and protect this sacred place. And I look forward to welcoming the world to Milano Cortina for next year's Winter Olympic Games. Thank you.
Now time for Kirsty Coventry, speaking for the first time at a flame lighting ceremony since becoming president of the IOC.
Please welcome now the first woman to lead the Olympic movement, the president of the International Olympic Committee, Mrs. Kirsty Coventry.
Thank you, and good morning to all of you. Dear President of the Hellenic Republic, Your Excellency Konstantinos Tassilos, to my dear colleague and friend, President of the Milano Cortina 2026, my dear friend, well done on your speech. All you wanted was a little kiss from me, so congratulations. To our honorary President Bach, to the honorary, to the Mayor of Olympia, to our dear sports ministers, both from Greece and Italy, to the President of the Hellenic Olympic Committee, to my dear fellow colleagues of the IOC, and please allow me to say all very important guests that are here with us today. I want to start by thanking our Greek hosts. And Your Excellency, outside when we welcomed you, you said to me, this place must have a special place and mean something special to me. But that journey started in 2004, and Greece changed my life, and it changed the path that I took. So it has more than a special place, and it will continue. It will continue to light and keep a light in my heart for the rest of my life. It is truly wonderful to be here today. And thank you, Your Excellency, for the role that you play and for all of your colleagues that have kept the cultural heritage of Olympia alive for generations. It is so important to the story that we tell. of the Olympic Games, of the ancient Olympic Games, but of the modern Olympic Games, and the commitment that you have and that everyone in this room has to Olympia and to keeping the story of ancient Olympia alive does not go unrecognized. As I said, it's incredibly memorable and a little bit emotional for me to be standing here. The last time I was in this room, I was being introduced to you, Your Excellency, by our president, and you shared with me a little story that some of the first incredible mayors of this great nation were women. And I said to you, well, I hope to be the first woman of this incredible organization. And it is very special to be back here and symbolic that the weather kept us from outside, but extremely symbolic to be standing in this exact spot where I first got to meet you. So I think things happen for a reason. But now we are here to celebrate the Olympic flame and the lighting of the Olympic flame and what that represents to each and every one of us. We are going to get to be in Milano Cortina in just a few weeks. And for me, that will be my first games as president. Over the past few weeks, we've gotten to truly understand what the Olympic spirit means, and we got to share with some of you the very start and essence of that last week when we got to hear the Olympic truce being observed, but not just observed, honored by member states. And it feels that the in friendship and in respect. And as we light the Olympic flame from Milano Cortina, we will carry this light from the past to the present and continue it into the future. And it's a shared future that we all want to see. This is why we firmly believe in the Olympic truce, in laying down our differences and wanting to hope for a brighter future. As we heard, the flame will soon travel to Italy, a country where passion runs deep in the hearts of its people. From the vibrant Milano to the majestic Dolomites, the Italian Alps, this passion will inspire not just Italy, but it will inspire a world. And the heartbeat of the Games will shine through every moment. Today, we started a very symbolic day by standing at the foot of Pierre de Coubertin's tomb, where his heart is. And it was a special moment because it reminded us where the modern games started. As the emotions. These games come at a critical part in our history. Thank you. I wasn't supposed to get emotional, but this place is very special. And it's so special because in a divided world that we live in today, the Games hold a truly symbolic place. And it's our duty, it's our responsibility to ensure that the athletes from around the world can come together peacefully and that they can inspire the dreams and hopes of those around the world that are watching. This is the true Olympic spirit. They live the values that unite us. They show us the best of humanity, where no discrimination is seen on the field of play. That spirit can only flourish when every eligible athlete and team and official can take part. And the Olympic Games will always continue to exist to break down walls that are put in our way. The flame we light today carries not just the hopes of the athletes, but the dreams of all of those who believe in the power of sport. And that power of sport unites us and it inspires us. But it also reminds us that every Olympic Games is a part of a living tradition. It's connecting generations, cultures, and people across the various generations. This is a world that I am so proud to be living in, even with all its challenges. And I am so proud to be leading this organization, and I cannot wait to continue with all of you and the support of all of you to ensure that we inspire the next generation to come. Thank you.
Wonderfully emotional speech there from Kirsty Coventry, watched by the Honorary President of the IOC, Thomas Bach. Now we'll hear from Hellenic Olympic Committee President Isidoros Kouvelos.
The Hellenic Olympic Committee holds responsibility for the lighting ceremony and the safeguarding of the Olympic flame. We invite its president, Mr. Isidoros Kouvelos.
Your Excellency, President of the Hellenic Republic, Mr. Konstantinos Tassoulas, Madam IOC President, dear Kirsty Coventry, distinguished guests, today on this sacred land, a land where time itself seems to pause, where the stones still whisper the stories of the first athletes, we're all here together once again for a light that belongs not only to one nation, but to all humanity. To the ancients, fire was a gift from the gods, a symbol of life, purity and truth. But it is no longer a divine fire, it is a human fire, the fire of courage, unity, reconciliation. The flame that was lit carries a deeper meaning, shaped by centuries of struggle, hope, and human evolution. If the winds and clouds urge us to light the flame earlier, let it be a sign that Olympia belongs to all elements: the sun, the wind, the rain, and sacred fire. And just behind us stands the Nike of Peonios, the winged symbol of victory, once raised to celebrate triumph in wars of war. Today, she looks upon a different kind of conquest, not to defeat of an enemy, but the victory of peace over conflict, of the human spirit over its own limitations. The flame now burns beside her, as if she descends once more upon this valley, blessing not armies, but athletes, showing that true glory in Olympia is forever linked with harmony among people. Over the centuries, Olympia gives the world the same promise, that sport can be a bridge stronger than the forces that try to divide us. President Giovanni Malagò, the journey that begins today carries with it the hopes of athletes from every corner of the earth. May this flame illuminate your mountains, your cities, and the hearts of your people, with the same purity with which it is born here. Madam President Kirsty Coventry, at this moment in history, when the world longs for voices of stability and unity, the Olympic movement stands guided by your leadership. You continue the same mission that began here 2,800 years ago, to show humanity a path towards harmony, respect, and peaceful coexistence. Your Excellency, President Tassoulas, your presence here today honors values that sprang from this very soil, values that continue to inspire nations, to believe in dialogue, cooperation, and hope. Ladies and gentlemen, as the flame now burns, where silence carries its own ancient wisdom and memory rests among the stones, let us feel its warmth within our souls and remember this simple truth. The Olympic flame carries no passport. It recognizes no borders, no divisions. It carries only the dust of the ancient gymnasium, the breath of the runners, the prayers of the priestesses, and the dreams of every child who dares to rise beyond their limitations. And now, as the flame begins its journey to Milano Cortina, may it inspire athletes to compete with purity, nations to meet with respect, and the world to remember what Olympia taught us long ago. Peace is possible when humanity chooses it. And when we choose light, darkness has nowhere to stand. Thank you very much.
Ήρθε η ώρα για την αφή της Ολυμπιακής φλόγας από την Πρωθιέρεια Μεριμνά. Το τελετουργικό αφής της
That
Ολυμπιακής
concludes
φλόγας
the speeches here in the
σκηνοθέτησε
Archaeological
ηχογράφησε
Museum.
Συγνατίου, ενώ τη μουσική συνέθεσε ο Δημήτρης
Shortly
Παπαδημητρίου.
we'll be
Με τη συνδρομή του καιρού
changing location
ενός ευγενικού νεύματος
to the Temple of Hera
η Ολυμπιακή φλόγα άναψε ήδη από τη
for
Δευτέρα.
lighting of the flame.
It is now time for the lighting of the Olympic flame by the High Priestess Merimina. The ritual of the lighting ceremony at the Temple of Hera is directed and choreographed by Artemis Ignatiu, with original music by Dimitris Papadimitriou. With the weather's cooperation and perhaps a gracious nod from Apollo, the flame was lit on Monday.
That was the artistic director and choreographer Artemis Ignatiu, who has held this role since 2008. This is the Temple of Hera in ancient Olympia. Priestesses making their way down towards the site of the lighting. Sun's rays concentrated in the parabolic mirror. For the lighting, you can see the parabolic mirror. Just saw it in the bottom of your screen. Temple of Hera, dedicated to the Queen of the Greek gods. It was originally built in around 590 BC. Great continuity in this ceremony with Ignatiu, succeeding Maria Horse, who was the choreographer for over 40 years. Horse was in fact one of the performers at the first modern Olympic flame lighting ceremony in 1936. And Ignatiu worked under her first as a priestess back in 1988. Flame symbolizes purity, peace, and the eternity of the Olympic spirit. It burned for the duration of each ancient Olympic Games. And once this flame is lit, it will remain lit until the closing ceremony of Milano Cortina 2026. You can see there holding the bowl is Estiada, the keeper of the flame. She's played by Joanna Strati. The High Priestess is played by Mary Mina, who first performed the role ahead of the Olympic Games Paris 2024. She will say a prayer to the god of the sun, Apollo, asking for his help to light the torch.
Ιερά σιωπή, να ηχήσει όλος ο αιθέρας, η γη, η θάλασσα και οι πνοές των ανέμων, όροι και τέμποι, σιγήστε, ήχοι και φωνές πουλιών, παύσατε, για τη μέλη να μας συντροφεύσει ο Φίβος, ο Φωσφόρος βασιλεύς. Απόλλωνα, Θεέ του ήλιου και της ιδέας του φωτός, στείλε τις ακτίνες σου και άναψε την ιερή δάδα για τις φιλόξενες πόλεις Μιλάνο και Κορτίνα, και εσύ, Δία, χάρισε ειρήνη σ' όλους τους λαούς της γης και στεφάνωσε τους νικητές του ιερού αγώνα.
And now the flame is lit. Estiada returns to receive it in her bowl. These magnificent outfits have been designed by Mary Catranzo. We'll shortly see a dance performance by the priestesses. See in the background there Koruis, the real-life statues depicting sporting disciplines. And joining this performance, the music composed by Dimitris Papadimitriou. That was the Eternal Awakening of Kores and Koroi, music composed by Dimitris Papadimitriou, and now led by the High Priestess Estiada, the keeper of the flame. The priestesses will make their way from the Temple of Hera to the Archaeological Museum. There, the Temple of Hera, and now the Archaeological Museum of Olympia for the continuation of today's ceremony. Here the High Priestess will arrive shortly and perform a last prayer in two parts. The first in ancient Greek, the second another prayer to Apollo as Estiada arrives with the flame.
Mater, ο Χρυσοστεφάνων αέθλων, Olympia, δέσποινα αλαθείας, ειν αμάντιες άνδρες, εμπείρις τεκμερώμενοι παραπηρώνται, Διός, αργικεράβνου, ή την έχει λόγων, ανθρώπων, περιμεωμένων, μεγάλαν αρετάν θυμό λαβήν, των δε μόχθων, απνοάν. Απόλλωνα, Θεέ του ήλιου και της ιδέας του φωτός, έστειλες τις ακτίνες σου και άναψες την ιερή δάδα για τις φιλόξενες πόλεις Μιλάνο και Κορτίνα, και εσύ, Δία, χάρισε ειρήνη σ' όλους τους λαούς της γης και στεφάνωσε τους νικητές του ιερού αγώνα.
Και τώρα η Πρωθιέρια Μέριμινα θα παραδώσει την Ολυμπιακή φλόγα στον πρώτο
The High Priestess takes an olive branch, which was given to victors at the ancient Olympics.
Now the High Priestess Merimina will hand the Olympic flame to the first torchbearer, bronze medalist rowing at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games, Petros Gaidatsis.
Here is our first torchbearer, Petros Gaidatsis.
Τίνελα, ω Καλλίνικε, τίνελα.
The dove of peace flies and Petros Gaidatsis begins the torch relay here. Gaidatsis, who won bronze in the lightweight double sculls at Paris 2024 with Antonios Papakonstantinou. She turned 25 yesterday, so happy belated birthday to him. And he is accompanied by our first Italian torchbearer, Stefania Belmondo. 10-time Olympic medalist in cross-country skiing. Belmondo was Italy's most decorated Winter Olympian until short track speed skater Arianna Fontana took her medal tally to 11 at Beijing 2022. Fontana trying to increase that tally at Milano Cortina. She's trying to qualify in long track as well as short track, but back to Belmondo. She appeared at 5 games and won gold in the 30-kilometre freestyle at Albertville 1992. And the Tiny Tornado, as she became affectionately known, won her second Olympic title in the 15-kilometre freestyle at Salt Lake City 2002. Belmondo also claimed 4 world titles, all in individual disciplines, and 23 individual wins during her World Cup career, taking the Sprint Series crown in 1997. She's the first Italian torchbearer on this occasion, having been the last ahead of the Torino 2006 Games. Belmondo lit the Olympic flame during the opening ceremony, the last time the Winter Olympics were held in Italy. Now these two are making their way to the Pierre de Coubertin monument, which was mentioned earlier by Kirsty Coventry. His heart is buried there. The founder of the modern Olympic movement. That was in accordance with his last wish. This memorial is located on the grounds of the International Olympic Academy on the slope of Crony Hill. Kaidatsis, as I mentioned, bronze medalist at Paris 2024. He and Antonios Papakonstantinou also won bronze at the 2023 European Championships. Kaidatsis, no doubt with one eye on Los Angeles 2028. He was born in Thessaloniki and grew up in Kalamaria. He trains at the Nautical Club of Kalamaria and studies medicine at the Aristotle University of Thessaloniki. He's actually a replacement slalom skier AJ Guinness, who won Greece's first Alpine Skiing World Championship medal in 2023 by taking silver in Chamonix, was due to be the first torchbearer, but he sustained an injury in training last week and had to pull out. He hopes to be 100% for the Games. So they're on their way to the Coubertin monument. You can perhaps see why Belmondo earned her nickname the Tiny Tornado. It's a diminutive figure compared to Kaidatsis. Pierre de Coubertin, of course. The man responsible for the revival of the Olympic movement. Born in Paris in 1863, Coubertin admired English schools for their inclusion of sport and physical education, and believed that fair play on the sports field would help turn children into better adults, noting that organised sport can create moral and social strength. He was unable to persuade French schools to follow the English example of incorporating sport into the curriculum, but he did manage to enlist the help of the Greek government in the revival of the Olympic Games. And on the 6th of April 1896, Panathenaic Stadium in Athens hosted the opening ceremony of the Games of the first Olympiad. We will return to the Panathenaic Stadium next week for the handover of the flame to the Milano Cortina 2026 organising committee. As you can see, contrary to the forecasts, it's a nice day here in ancient Olympia. See the continuity from the ancient to the modern Olympic Games with the flame and with that olive branch which was given to the winners as the pair now approach the Coubertin monument. There is Dionysios Kesaris, special guest today. He was the first torchbearer for an Olympic Winter Games ahead of the Innsbruck 1964 Games. That flame lighting ceremony took place in Olympia just a week before the Games got underway. Here lies the heart of Baron Pierre de Coubertin. Flame is handed over to another Italian Olympic great, luge legend Armin Zögler. Also known as the Cannibal. Makes his way up the steps to the International Olympic Academy. Going back to Kesaris, who we saw briefly, now 81 years of age, former pole vaulter who has devoted his life to promoting sport and physical education, inspiring hundreds to embrace the values of discipline and fair play, teamwork and healthy living as espoused by Pierre de Coubertin. We see Zögler taking his turn with the Olympic torch. No other Olympic athlete, summer or winter, has won medals at 6 consecutive games in the same individual discipline. Zögler won men's singles medals at 6 consecutive games from Lillehammer 1994 to Sochi 2014. He won gold at Salt Lake City 2002 and on home ice at at Torino 2006. He was 40 years old when he took bronze in Sochi and retired later that year. He actually hails from South Tyrol, the same region as tennis star Yannick Sinner, also a 6-time world champion. And in front of the International Olympic Academy, Zugler hands over to artistic gymnast Demosthenes Tabakos, specialist in the rings. He won silver at Sydney 2000 and gold at Athens 2004, world champion in 2003. Currently serves as the chair of the Hellenic Olympic Academy. He's accompanied by 3 former rowers: Nikolaos Skiathidis, won lightweight double sculls bronze at Athens 2004, and Yannis Silis and Stergios Papachristos, who both competed in the men's 4 at London 2012. Both Silis and Papachristos have dedicated their post-sporting career to Olympic education. And that concludes our coverage of the flame lighting ceremony. The torch beginning its journey through Greece with over 450 torch bearers covering 2,200 kilometres through 7 regions. Next Thursday, the 4th of December, will see the handover of the torch to the Milano Cortina 26 organising committee.